All right, we're here with the Lithia Springs head coach, Steve Horton. First of all, thank you, Coach, for meeting with Prep Star Stats today and doing this interview.
No problem at all.
So at 4-0, the Lions are off to what is the best start they've had in several years. When was the last time Lithia Springs started a season at 4-0?
1984. This is only the second time in school history. The community is abuzz. It's fun to be a Lion right now.
Last year was a tough year, winning only one game. You've had obviously a huge turnaround, lots of hard work. What were your expectations coming into this 2010 season?
Well, last year was different. Last year's team was not a 1-9 team. We had 26 starters miss a total of 81 games due to injury. What that meant is that all the kids that are playing this year played last year. So, you know, as it's turning out this year, maybe that was a blessing in disguise. We've got a lot of kids with a lot of experience, and you know, our expectations, I don't know if you can call them expectations, more our hopes and dreams were winning season for game 10 to matter, get into that region playoff system with, you know, with the other side, and then, you know, ultimately, if possible, make the playoffs.
You expected an improvement this year, but have there been any special surprises, maybe some younger players stepping up that you weren't anticipating?
Oh, absolutely. We start 6 sophomores. We're very senior laden and sophomore laden, and our sophomores have done a phenomenal job. Avante Boyd is a sophomore who returns punts for us, plays outside linebacker. Was the difference in the Alexander game. Took a punt back in the fourth quarter for a touchdown to seal that ball game. Khalil Taups is a sophomore who plays fullback for us. You know, last week, early in the game, had a key block which allowed the play to develop. And not just a key block like he got in the way, but a key crushing block to where the folks around him kind of, you know, took notice. You know, Rashard Leonard is a sophomore that starts on the offensive line. Sammy Cornelius is a sophomore wide receiver, Z for us, that we're just getting great minutes out of a lot of young kids.
And you're leading the sub-region in both offense and defense, averaging 29.5 points a game and giving up only 9. Your quarterback, Miles Mitchell, and running back Rodney Cross are leading the sub-region in passing and rushing offense. And both of them are in the top 3 in the entire region, north and south, in those categories. Any surprises there?
Surprises? No. Those are the guys that we're counting on week in, week out. You know, another sophomore that's really stepped up is Kyle Wilson, who's also been putting up some big stats. Once he's gotten, you know, included in our system. Miles and Rodney are 2 great kids who are very special football players. But, you know, I think those stats are a little misleading in the fact that, yeah, we're 4-0, but we've still got a lot of football left to play and a lot to prove, you know, to other folks that we are for real. And there's a lot of question marks, but there's never been a question mark with Miles and Rodney.
This week you take on South Paulding. They lost their first 3 games against 3 very tough North Sub-Region teams, but they've looked pretty good in their last 2 games, winning both the last 2 against Villarica and Alexander. What do you see out of them?
They're good. They're real good. And when you lose to your 3 losses are against teams that are combined, 12-3. That's great. You know, those teams are better than the teams we've played. Now, you know, the difference is that we've beaten the teams we were supposed to beat, but we're definitely not looking. I mean, South Paulding is our biggest game of the year. It's the next game of the year. It's a sub-region game. They've won 2 straight, and you know, I don't care who you are. Lithia Springs is tired of being a homecoming darling. And, you know, every year we usually play 2 or 3 road games where we're somebody else's homecoming. This week we're South Paulding's homecoming. we're hoping that we can stand up and do something about that.
As you look at South Paulding and their improvement, are there any keys to the game that your team needs to do to make winning on Friday?
Well, absolutely. I mean, offensively, our offense is a wide open spread attack. We've got some pretty good athletes. We need to get them in space. We have had a lot of success this year running the ball out of our I formation right at people. By watching film of South Paulding, nobody's had success running right at them. So we're going to have to see what works. But we do have a lot of weapons, and we've got a lot of different opportunities. Defensively, they are as multiple as we are, and that's scary. They run a ton of formations. They run a ton of plays. They're incredibly disciplined. From watching film, both my D coordinator, Scott Dean, and I, both of us said, wow, this is a smart football team. Coach Glanton does a phenomenal job over there. I mean, we're talking about a program that doesn't have a lot of history, that doesn't have a lot of tradition. It's a brand new program. And to compete in those first 3 games the way that he did, and then to take a team that's 0-3 that has no history and tradition of winning and to reel off 2 straight, that's fantastic coaching. So for us, we've got to play our game. We've got to use our speed. We've got to pursue to the football. We need some turnovers. We've been doing pretty well in the turnover margin. This year we need to win the turnover battle. We need to keep our penalties low, which outside of 1 game we've done a real good job with. But I believe this one's a toss-up. I don't know who's going to come out on top this week.
As week to week goes by and you're stacking up the wins, is it tough to keep your team focused? It's got to be very exciting for them right now.
No, we're in uncharted waters. It's so new to us that our kids, they take a minute to feel good about themselves and keep a smile on their face, but. My coaching staff's been with me for a long time, and we're working harder than we've ever worked because we like this, and we want to continue this feeling and what's going on in this community. And these guys aren't letting them get away with anything. I told somebody early, when you're struggling and you're losing and you're watching film, you correct the major mistakes, because if your kid's lost on Friday night and you go in there and you beat them down, it's kind of like kicking a dead horse. What good does that do? When you're winning, you can fix everything, and our kids are a little surprised in that, hey, coach, we're 4-0. Why are you still screaming at me like that? Because you know what? We've told our kids all along, we've got a chance to do something special around here. Again, Lithia Springs hasn't been 4-0 since 1984. They've never been 5-0 in the history of the school. They've never made the state football playoffs. There's an opportunity, and to keep, with those kind of goals ahead of you that are, actually attainable, it has not been tough. Our kids are doing a really good job.
Coach Horton, on behalf of Prep Star Stats, we're very excited about your success this season. I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us today, and we wish you the best of luck for your game on Friday.
We sure do appreciate it, and I'll go ahead and tell you, you guys have been fantastic, and we love getting on that website, and the kids are starting to get on too, which is really cool.
Great.
So thank you very much for coming out today.
Thank you.